Good morning, folks. Welcome back to another video. It's an absolutely beautiful morning here. Today I want to talk about propane and my use here at the cottage. First of all, if you're looking back here, you'll see a big old 250-gallon propane tank, and I had that installed in the winter months and months ago. Why? Because trying to keep warm, I thought I better get a propane furnace. Well, I've since changed my mind. I use propane canisters and a big buddy heater, basically. Why? Because it's a temporary situation, I hope. My goal is to use a mini split. And a mini split, these days you can get DIY ones that I should be able to put together and put in place at my cottage. And they're really low wattage, something like 900 to 1,000, and that would actually fit really well with my solar setup that I'm designing. And the beauty of that, unlike a propane furnace, a mini split in the summer, you can click on cool and you've got air conditioning as well. So I nixed the idea of a propane furnace, even though I still have this big tank. So we already discussed that I won't be using propane to heat the place. So the other items are a stove and a hot water heater. So let's look at hot water heaters. They take a lot of electricity as a rule, from what I understand. So I thought, let's nix that and go with a tankless propane hot water heater. So that's one use for this big tank. And secondly, I picked out a really cool little propane stove. It's about 24 inches wide. It looks great. The reviews are good. And it's 24 inches, but it's a full stove. It has 4 burners and an oven. So how cool is that? So if a person wants to do pizza or cookies or whatever, you can do that. So those are the 2 items I'd be running with propane. But there's another factor. Over here is another building site, and I'm hoping to put a bigger building when I get more savings there. Then my little cottage becomes an Airbnb. Both buildings can run off of this one tank. So once I decided what appliances and items that I was going to use propane for, then it was a matter of coming up with a company that could, number 1, provide a tank, and number 2, provide good service for filling the tank. So I chose GM Propane. They're in Whetstone, Arizona, so they're north of Sierra Vista a short ways, but they do deliver to my area. Of course, I had chatted with the representative over the phone, and we'd worked out a contract where I would rent the tank. And they also told me it wasn't very much. It was $100 a year to rent it. So I didn't think that was too bad, considering if you work that out per pound. So the folks arrived and set it up. So of course, not knowing anything at all about propane, I made a bit of an error. So here's the critical error I made, folks. I knew that OSHA, which stands for Occupational Safety and Health Association, mandates that a propane tank be at least 10 feet from a building. So I'm like, okay, in that case, I better be careful. So I had it placed right about here. But without adequate knowledge of how propane works, which is my fault, I thought the propane tank has got to be close to the building because it's running through plumbing to get to the building, and so it probably can't run a long ways. Also, since I hope to have another building over here in the future, I thought I'll need 2 tanks for 2 buildings. So once GM Propane had come and gone, as the days went on, I became more and more, what should I say, bothered by where the propane tank was. So, for example, if you see my vehicle here, if a pickup came in as a friend or a guest, they would have trouble parking safely without bumping into any other vehicles, or even two pickups. That would be a problem. So I'm like, okay, my parking space has been reduced. And the other thing I really, really don't like, you drive up my driveway and the first thing you see is a big honking propane tank. So all that to say, I went around with it, kind of talking to myself like, Don, you're too focused on aesthetics. It's a propane tank, for Pete's sake. Get used to it. But after consulting further, I found out a couple things. Propane can be propelled a long distance, meaning I don't have to have that tank really close to my cottage. Number two, there's something called a T-bracket piece of hardware that can basically send propane in two different directions. So I could send propane to the little cottage and propane to the other building I hope to have. So those are two valuable things to learn. So that got me to thinking, I'm not happy with a big honking propane tank right in the area where I'd like to have as a parking area. So GM Propane were very helpful. They said essentially, yes, it can be moved. It can be tricky because the ears that support that tank can only take so much pressure. So when you're moving it, especially with a full tank, it can get a little dicey, but we'll do it. And I think their price was about $250 to move it. But I'm at a point where, you know what, I'll pay the $250. I just want that in a discreet place. And so I've got my parking area freed up. A tarantula. He's pretty small. He's like, I don't like that harsh sun. Let me out of here. So when they had time in their schedule, GM Propane came by, picked up the tank, and moved it to a spot I really like. It's kind of tucked behind a bit of mesquite and grass, but still easy to get to. And no surprise, the folks, I don't blame them. They asked me, I think, at least two times, are you sure this is where you want this? And I'm like, yes, I'm positive. So I learned a lot. And once this is hooked up, I can have propane to two buildings. And I really like the spot where it's located. Now I've got places to park. And I'm very, very happy with the whole thing. Okay, so I head over to my garage tent, and what am I confronted with? Big mess all over the bloody place. Not impressed. And what's more, the culprit's still around. Not having it. You're moving, pal, off my property now. Okay, confession time. That was a reenactment, but all the events really happened earlier today. So anyway, the crazy, I can't say pig, crazy animals now off the property, and it was kind of fun doing the reenactment. The local sheriff just drove by. Hope he didn't think I was totally Looney Tunes. In all honesty, I don't dislike javelinas. They are a new animal for me. Really interesting. Just a little on the pesky side, to say the least. Hope this provided a little comedy relief for you. And by the way, I was just thinking, chasing javelinas. I used to run a lot years ago. This could be a good motivator for exercise. Or maybe not. Well, as I end this video, folks, I wanted to take a bit of time to say thank you to a couple subscribers. First of all, before I do that, yes, Santa Claus does exist, and in this case, he came to me. So I just want to say a very, very heartfelt thank you to Daryl, who sent me this item from my Amazon wish list. By the way, I did an Amazon wish list because folks just asked me to do that. I really didn't think I'd ever do that because it seemed kind of like asking for things, and that's kind of uncomfortable. But anyway, Daryl, this is fantastic, and I have never owned a ratchet set this nice in my life. I won't even tell you the crummy ratchet sets I've had before. But a big, big thank you so much. Then we go to Tom, who sent me this absolutely beautiful miter saw. Okay, he actually is in my area, so he just called me up, and he was very patient. I was away for a while, and said, whenever you're in the area, you can come by and pick it up if you'd like it. So thank you very, very much, Tom. A very good man and a very good heart. Thanks so much, guys, and I really appreciate all the subscribers and all your comments, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.